This week I've got this very cheery and very sparkly hello card, and this is using the boutique paper pack, but the main star of the show is the brand new Bodacious Blooms template, which I'll show you how to use in this video. The Bodacious Blooms template, I just have a regular piece of paper on here to show you a little bit better, but it is transparent, just like all of our templates, and it's got 4 different flower designs on it. The Lindy, Molly, Deborah, and Matilda. And each of these has several different layers to them. And on the template itself, it has complete instructions on how to, first of all, cut your paper to the right size. In each of the flowered pieces, it tells you what size to cut. And then also how to fold it so that it'll fit under these template shapes. I used the Lindy on my card, and that's what it ended up looking like. And that's using all 4 of the layers, so 3 folded and then 1. It's hard to see this little flower topper shape. But some of the flowers, you can use leaves with them. There's 3 different leaf shapes. Let's see, might see them better there. And then it also includes the image of each of these finished flowers and some ideas on how to use the leaves and things like that. The other thing I'm using is the boutique paper pack, which is one of my favorite paper packs. It's very pretty. And here are the designs. So there's 12 sheets, 2 of each of these designs. Brown, this pretty green houndstooth, and then I really like this one too. It's kind of like a patchwork of all the papers. And I don't want to forget to show you the packaging, because that gives you some more scrapbooking and card making ideas, as well as matching products and an image of all the papers. And then also it comes with a great variety of matching ribbons. And I'm also using these jewel border dazzles in pink, gold, and green. And they're very sparkly, but using them, they go a really long way when you use them in pieces like I did on my card. So let's get started making this. Alright, so first step is to cover your card with the patterned paper. I used this one, so you can see where I kind of got it from. Just place the glue stick all over the front of your card, stick it to the back of your paper, and then take a ruler and cut off the excess. So on the Bodacious Blooms template, it has complete instructions right here. I want to make the Lindy bloom. So there are 3 layers here, and there's also a center shape right here. And they all say which size of paper they require. So I'm starting with the largest, Lindy layer 1. Use a 5-inch square, fold and measure 1 inch in from each side. Final size is 4 1/4 inch. So when you read the directions, it makes a lot more sense. It says to fold your square in half as shown. So I've got this brown pattern square, and I'm going to fold it in half with the outsides white, and the inside is the patterned side. Okay, now it says to keep the folded edge toward you and the colored side of your paper inside, then, which I've already done. Then mark the middle on the bottom edge. So this folded edge, to easily get to the middle, I'm just gonna make a tiny little pinch here, creasing the center, and then with my pencil I'm going to make a mark there. So mark the middle on the bottom edge, then measure in from each side on the top edge. See diagram below and directions for each flower, and make a mark with your pencil. So we've got the diagram here. So I've folded this in half already. I've made this bottom mark, but these top 2 marks I'm going to have to make according to my flower. So since I'm using the largest layer here, it says measure 1 inch in from each side. So those are my top 2 marks. So I'm going to measure 1 1-inch. Just make a little mark here and 1 inch from the left side. Okay, so I've got my 3 points. Now the easiest way to fold this is I fold it back so that I can see all my pencil marks. So point to point. Once you've got this first fold, you can pretty much take your paper like this and just wrap the other one around it, and that will pretty much connect your other 2 points. So next on the instructions it says fold each end diagonally inward to meet each mark as shown to make a triangle. So this is what they're talking about when they say triangle. So we've got a triangle here. Align your paper triangle under the triangle on the template and trace your design. Remove the template and cut out your flower and the inner lines. And then step 4, unfold and repeat for as many layers as desired. So, reviewing that, we put the folded triangle under this design. Trace lines. And this is what all the templates have in common, tracing and cutting. And many of them do have folding. Okay, so we've got those lines all down. So I'm just going to cut them out. Now make sure on these inner lines that you're not cutting them out completely, unless you want a an outline flower, kind of a framed flower, I guess, with evacuated petals, but in this case we're not going to cut all the way through. So this template is best using regular weight paper and not thicker paper, because right now is when you have to cut through 6 layers of paper. Kind of like when you make those snowflakes in the winter, those paper snowflakes. Okay, so I've cut that out, and then I'm just gonna do my inner petals here. And remember not to cut to the edge, just to there. Almost done. All right. Okay, so here's what we've got. Let's unfold the flower here. Okay, it's looking much nicer. So in addition to the outer petals, we've also got these inner petals, and you can kind of bend them upward if you want to. You can place foam tape behind them to make them pop up, or you can make the outer rims kind of pop up and the inner ones kind of go down. So you've kind of got a lot of flexibility that way. Right now I'm just going to kind of lift up the inner ones and curl them back gently, but I can always arrange these once I glue them down or foam tape them. Okay, so that's the basic Bodacious Blooms layer, and you just keep doing the same thing with the second and third layers. And I'm also going to use this little shape here for the top. Just wanted to mention for the second layer I'm using this pink and green pattern. Third layer brown, and fourth layer or center will be pink and green as well. So this is the little shape. You don't have to do any folding with that. It's just a straight shape onto the paper. So that's pretty simple. So here are all 4 of my Bodacious Bloom layers. This is the Lindy flower, and this is how they look separate, and I'm going to stack them up. You can either stack them with the petals lined up or kind of turned so they're alternating. I kind of like the alternating look. And the little center in here looks pretty cute. Okay, so before I kind of put this on my card or anything, I'd like to add some bling to it. So I've got these 3 jewel border dazzle sheets. I'm going to start with the pink holographic one. And I'm just going to put some sparkle on my green and pink layers. So for this, I'm going to take my handy dandy retractable penknife. And I think I want to put just a circle in the center. Unfortunately, there are some kind of circle borders on here, so I'm going to use that. So I'm just going to trim right here and right here, and then carefully lift up. And there's the middle. Looks pretty good to me. Okay, and then I kind of want a little more pizzazz. So I'm going to take some of these small diamonds and place them kind of radiating out from the center. I do like how that looks. Okay, so that's looking good so far. Okay, so just giving you a look on how I decorated each one of the layers. This is the largest one, the brown one, and I've used the gold glitter on that, just pieces of the borders. Then the second layer, and I've used some on the tips and some on the inner petals. Third layer, kind of the same thing, using those tiny diamonds on each of the small petals, and then you've seen this one. So it's all stacked together. Let's see if I can kind of give you an idea here. It will look like that. So that's a really pretty kind of blingy centerpiece for the front of your card. So now I'm actually going to foam tape the layers together. So I'll apply foam tape to the center right here and stick it on the first layer. And then I'm going to try and foam tape the small petals so that they have a tiny bit more dimension so they don't get flattened. And I'll do the same with these layers, and then the top one just gets foam taped on top. Okay, so here's my finished flower. Each layer is foam taped on the next, and I didn't put foam tape under the inner petals just because that would land them on the same level as their foam tape, so it was kind of pointless. But I did curl them upward to try and give them some body. You could try doing multiple layers of foam tape, I guess, but I think the bling is actually enough to kind of bring out all the different layers. And I just kind of love doing this and watching it sparkle. But time to move on. And now our beautiful flower is going to get glued right in the center towards the top of the card. Okay, so for my leaf, I've got this right here. So this is actually the center leaf shape on the template. It's called Pointy Leaf. And I just wrote hello just with a black marker. If you have a brown marker, you can use that so it'll match a little better. And then for the edges, I inked the edges using Timber Brown Stays On and Handy Dandy Cosmetic Wedge. So that's going to go right about there. And my stem is going to go right here. So I've made my stem out of this dazzle border, but I kind of want to add a little something to it. So I'm going to use the gold diamonds and put them in place of the green ones that are empty right now. So Just gonna put those in there. And this is gonna be a very sparkly, pretty card when I'm done. And these are pretty easy to just pick off of your dazzle sheet with your knife. I kind of get my knife under the shape, then kind of press it on with my finger, just very lightly. And same thing when placing them. Just press those on. Okay, the last one's going off the card a tiny bit, so I'm just going to trim that tip. Perfect. Alright, now I'm going to foam tape my leaf right about there. Alright, so on the leaf I have added some bits of the green jewel dazzle borders just to make it match the stem a little more. And I've also glued on with Zots the sheer pink ribbon down here. So I think the front is pretty much done. So on the inside, I think I'm just going to keep it blank so that I can write a letter to someone. And I'm going to just add a few border dazzles, kind of overlapping, and you'll see how that looks in a second. Okay, so really simple inside this time. I've got the gold, pink, and green border dazzles, and just going across and then down, ending in different lengths here. So I think it frames this area really nicely, and you have quite a bit of space to kind of write a lengthy note or short letter, which is usually what I like to do. So the front is really the star of the show, obviously. We've got the huge Bodacious bloom in the center, hello on this leaf shape, and then everything's decorated with bits and pieces of the jewel border dazzles. And then on the inside, the border dazzles have their chance to shine in a little bit longer lengths, so that's really nice. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Simply Ann. I did have a pretty simple card. There's lots of layering going on, and it looks complicated to the untrained eye, but you know how easy it was to make using that Bodacious Blooms template, which is very fun. It has tons of different shapes to choose from. And the inside is very simple, obviously, but you've got so many borders on these sheets to choose from. I say, you know, why not put them to good use and decorate your insides. So, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next week. In the savings bundle, you'll of course get the Bodacious Blooms template, very versatile in 4 different flower designs, each of them including multiple sizes, and of course the little flower centers for each, and the leaf shapes for each. You're also getting the boutique paper pack, all 3 of these jewel dazzle borders. This is green glitter, gold glitter, and pink holographic. And they go great with the boutique papers and, of course, the boutique ribbon set. So I hope you guys enjoy.